Here.
Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
Knowledge is power, information is key, and that is why we aim to unlock the doors of opinion, unveiling the stories that need to be told. The Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. as we invoke the thought-provoking discussion, tackle the tough questions, challenge assumption, and give a voice to the unheard. This is the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Welcome on board the Morning Express.
Good morning.
Good morning and a happy new week to you. Welcome to Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM, your daily dive into the stories that are making the headlines today. We are going to be taking a look at the front covers, see what they're saying from politics, state of the economy, social issues, among others. But before we proceed into the business of the day, we should once again highlight the end of the Ramadan fast and the celebration that has followed. We hope that the goodness of the holy month stays with you. And congratulations to our Muslim brothers and sisters. I'm unsure if Lent has ended. I doubt that. I think Lent oftentimes extends till the actual end of the month from which it starts. I really don't understand the mathematics of that, but however, it's still a month of holiness, and I think that is still okay for us to say that all the blessings that accommodates the month spread across to all who have fasted and those who have not fasted or are unable to join the fast. My name is Sage Baba. Wondering where you are, it's Mainland 98.3 FM. This is the Morning Express here on Mainland FM, Monday the 23rd March 2026. And as earlier introduced, Trends in the Papers is this segment where we're going to be flipping through our newspapers, but paying particular attention to the stories that are recorded or reported on the front covers. The papers are reflecting the very controversial 48 to 72 hours of the Nigerian experience, all of which we would properly dissect when we get to the analysis part of the conversation. So stay with us. We'll turn the pages. We'll bring you trends into the stories that are trended over the course of the weekend. So let's just quickly go through the papers. Punch, Guardian, Vanguard in no particular order. Over the weekend is task force over persistent misconduct. Oluremi Tinubu condemns assault of women at Delta Festival, demands justice. National ID, BVN required as Nigeria Army begins 2026 recruitment drive. France to support Nigeria with military equipment after Tinubu-Macron phone call. Federal government to scrap common entrance, track students' journey with identification number. Bandits invade Kwara Church rape festival in Delta earlier, says agency. Now we have the Guardian newspaper. Nigeria-UK immigration deal. Federal government clears air on terms and scope. Southwest is Tinubu's fortress, locked down for 2027. APC groups tell opposition. NBA condemns assault on women at Ozoro Festival, demands corporate prosecution. UAD petitions EFC practices 2027. Good governance matters more than age or religion, says Kanu Uche. ADC crisis deepen as Bala petition INEC to oust Mark Aregbesola. Tension soar as Trump threatens Iran over Hormuz blockade. And finally, for Vanguard, terrorists abduct 9 worshippers in Kwara Church through his Ram's commitment to inflation targeting eyes 6 to 9%. There's a lot of things that happened over the weekend. There's more actually, but for the sake of our time, and as I believe the papers this morning sort of take us back to these reports anyways, we decided to minimize and summarize the reportage of weekend stories. My name once again is Sage Babalola, and we'll bring on Fᴜᴜ, so do well to join us so that you can very much interact with these stories as we go along with them. Just use the live chat option and drop your comments and drop your disagreements or your agreements or contrary opinion as we get through these stories. Good morning, Fᴜᴜ. How was your weekend?
All right, good morning, Sage. Good, how you doing?
Me, you know, every other, why do weird things happen to you every other day? It's ridiculous. It was just, I don't even know what kind of fault to call it, but it is what it is. Yeah, people had it worse than me this morning, I promise you, because there was a lot of people that were going to farther places than me this morning who were just, and their cars were packed inside, so it was, but yeah, this is what it is. I was able to make it in time. Thank you so very much. How was your weekend?
Normal weekend, nothing spectacular, no, nothing major, just normal weekend.
Good.
1,100
that
per
was
liter,
the conversation between everybody. It was just ridiculous.
and light no day.
Yeah.
Light no day. So for the average business owner, I don't know. It's multiple jeopardy.
Indeed.
It's unfortunate.
I just don't want to. You people once because it's not at all. Yeah, because on the bus all you have to do is say this Nigeria self. Oh my god.
And you hear what Nigeria,
I was exhausted at some point because obviously my own personal situation was already had me messed up. So discuss, people exchanging words at the front and at the back about this, how much, and a woman was like, do you know how much I bought basket of tomatoes? It was not fun. And and aside from that, I don't want to once again sound like a broken record, because anybody who's been following me on social media has seen that I have been raving frantically about the whole Delta State situation, and I know that a lot of people have spoken about it. The conversation has come up, but I just wanted to talk about it again before, because even the papers today sort of reference it, but I just wanted to talk about that for the beauty of a Friday. And then I'm on social media and I see that actually multiple people had sent me messages. Oh, Sage, have you seen this? Have you seen this? I'm like, see what? Why am I on social media for outside? And I am being met with, from their chests, begging for their life, being chased by a mob of men in the name of some festival. Now, I obviously had to go read about the festival, right? Apparently, this is a fertility festival. It's a festival for people who are seeking the fruit of the womb, women who are unable to have children. So you come there, they pour sand on you, you get pregnancy as a reward for the humiliation. So the concept of the festival in itself is already questionable. And
dehumanizing,
very dehumanizing. And then we have young boys who then saw that as an opportunity to assault women, touch women, embarrass them, and film themselves committing this crime. And the justification, well, we did tell women not to come out. I don't know if our customary laws are now superior to the Constitution, but I'm very sure of what the Constitution says about the right of freedom, the freedom of movement, I beg your pardon. And I don't think that it is possible that in this day and age, with all the development we've experienced as human beings, that we should encourage customs that mandates that an entire demographic not be seen outside because of some festival. Or am I losing my mind for outside, or I'm exaggerating?
No, it's normal for you to get this frustrated, really alarmed and frustrated as a woman, not just as a woman. Look, every right-thinking Nigerian should be alarmed, should be frustrated, and should feel the way you're feeling. I saw a number of those videos. I read a number of reports. I think the latest we have is that, look, a number of arrests have been made.
Yeah.
The leader of the community have been arrested. I think close to 15 persons have now been arrested. Because again, basically it's sexual assault. No matter the useless festival you think you're doing, once you get to the point where you're groping women, ripping their clothes off them, I think there were even reported cases of rape.
Yes.
Sage. So, and these are crimes. These are criminal issues. There's no culture that supersedes the law of the land, Sage, when it comes to things like this. So it's not just to make the arrest. I've seen that the governor of the state have also condemned whatever happened during the festival. I think it's in the papers today that even the first lady, or yesterday or today, have also lent her voice and have said, look, those people must be brought to justice. You can't do this. Again, we need to do more to protect our women and the girl child. Sage. See, we have enough on our hands already on the protection of women and the girl child. Look, up till now, we still have some culture that will not allow women to own properties.
Yes.
So African women are going through a whole lot already. There are still some religion that think that women should even be free. There are some people who have those religious beliefs that women are just only fit for the kitchen and to only bear children. You understand what I'm saying? So while we are still pushing for better opportunities for women, equal rights for women, and then you have this coming from a so-called cultural festival, the rape and what have you. The fact that the entire essence of the festival in itself is anti-feminist. It's obviously demonizing for women. So I don't know. It's just crazy. So, look, And you know that there are women who do this to women too, say it.
Fuad, I'm telling you that I watched a report. This journalist, well, not very trained, goes to Ozoro, right? And
Women, mothers don't even care.
in the market.
That's what I'm saying.
That day, did they come outside? So where are the girls coming outside? That day, they know how it is. Mind you, this is a student area. There is a university.
University, yeah. And there are campuses, off-campus campuses, hostels and what have you around. You know, and the sad part of it also, from the reports I also read, that some students even participated in harassing the girls.
Of course.
So it was not just even the village boys.
There were teenage boys. They were children that were actually being encouraged, boys,
to do
the same thing. Like, you know, go on, like the eyewitness report, that they would actually help you hold down the women so the boys can also partake or tap, as they call it.
Training them and putting them up to become rich in the future. You know, like I told you about women doing this same thing to women. I've always complained about the fact that, look, you go into any of our markets, something happens, she has come to steal, maybe there's a fake transfer or something. Women are supposed to do something very bad in the market. Why is it that you, as a woman, an elderly woman, you are so excited to strip the other girl naked, the other woman naked? I'm like, what is the joy in, I don't know. Say it. What is the joy, no matter what the other woman must have done? Why are you so happy to strip her naked? See, I ask myself, and you see it all over. And there will be elderly women all jumping for joy. They are the ones that will first want to strip her naked. I'm like, this is crazy. People just crazy.
Well, for that is the reality of the world we live in Ozoro. As you said, even the chief priest, apparently, or the chief organizer of that festival, apparently they did not tell the king, and he says he was unaware.
So the king didn't know?
That's what he says. I saw the video.
He didn't know what? So why would the king not know?
Also didn't tell the president of the youth forum in that Ozoro community that they were unaware. They had no idea, and it was until they started receiving videos and calls from outside.
Let's wait to see when they have their day in court. Those have been arrested.
15 of them so far is what. But
I will never forget the Alu killing. Say it. I think it happened how many years ago, where some young men were accused of stealing
and were mobbed.
And you had leaders of community, elderly women, all of them. What as these young men were mobbed and burned to death. Nobody could save them. I look at what we have now. If they were going to kill these young girls, so they would have killed them. And then somebody will come and say, I did not know. You did not know what?
Somebody says, if they told you not to come outside, why were you outside?
Why did you say
like we're living in caves. Even in caves, women were not told to hide.
Even in Banana Republic, you know, even in the animal kingdom, there's a level of decency you see among them.
But that's that situation. Aside from that, for outside, a lot of attention has been placed on the president and a lot of analysis on the benefit of his trip to the United Kingdom. Now, so far so good. We know that agreements regarding investments in our port system, enhanced trade, I think some level of security support, not just from the UK but also from France, and immigration arrangements. So far, these are the benefits that have been attributed to that trip, and also the phone call to Macron. With regards to the immigration arrangement, there was some sort of seeking asylum. If the US cannot take them, they will go to Rwanda, but that has been clarified that they're not taking immigrants at all. We're not taking immigrants into Nigeria. It's just that individuals who have overstayed their welcome in the United Kingdom, perhaps their documents have expired. It's usually a very lengthy process. Oftentimes, you know, they're dehumanized. They go through very excruciating process. But now, if your document has expired, it will be easy for you to just get on a flight and return back to where you're coming from.
Do we need to sign an agreement, you know, for them to deport people who has failed asylum application or who have overstayed their visa? I'm just asking. What was the essence of signing that agreement?
Perhaps they want, you know, they want it to be on paper. They want an official
paper that what? That we should know that at the time when paper that was they've been deporting people. That's what I'm saying. There's no, you don't understand what I'm saying.
I'm with you. Well,
what was the need for the agreement? Because look, once you overstay your visa or probably you file an asylum and it fails, you are supposed to be on the next flight. Without even a plane, see, with deportees. They sat down somewhere, their papers were taken away from them, and when they got to Lagos here, they just handed them over to the immigration people. And that was all. So I'm like, that was why people thought it was a different arrangement. That was why there was that confusion.
But for
if you understand what I'm saying, yes.
For there's in some cases, right? If you overstay your welcome, you could go to prison, you could be arrested, and all. This arrangement sort of takes that away. So if you're willing to return when your document expires, maybe you've overstayed. Instead of in some cases you be arrested and be put in jail or something. Once you just tell them that I want to go back now, they just let you go.
That's what I'm saying. That look, that has always been the process now. Even the jail you're talking about, it's always like a detention center. Why they are sorting themselves out to get you on a plane. You understand what I'm saying, Sage? You can't even look at that point. You have no rights again. You will still your visa, right?
In this arrangement, as opposed to immigrants, anything you acquire there, as long as your status was illegal, you can't take it. But with this arrangement now, anything
you cannot take your property,
you can take your property,
like your TV and your furniture.
Now, for you can liquidate, and
that's what I'm saying now. They didn't just grab you and send you back home. They have to some little rights like that.
You can liquidate and take your property and be on the flight. And
of your wife and children. If you have any,
I mean, you met your wife there as a citizen. You have your child there.
But I think what major talking points has to be the port, the agreement to rehabilitate the port, and that's got a lot of people talking because basically, like you would expect of a country like the United Kingdom, or a country like the United Kingdom. Basically, if you read through the entire agreement, it's actually one-sided. Yes, our ports will be rehabilitated. There's going to be some level of investment, but it's almost like you borrowing somebody money and telling the person how to use the money. Sage, and you can't even blame the lender now, because again, what do we have? What do we have to show? What do we have to put on the table? Because again, this is coming as a form of loan, about 700 million, is it dollars or pounds now, to rehabilitate the ports. Now, the entire steel that will be used are going to be UK steel. They're bringing it all over. So, again, who do we blame that, we have an agreement that is completely one-sided? Yes, the benefit of, rehabilitation of the ports. But at the end of the day, this is a loan. It's coming from a loan. In fact, the loan will be financed by a bank from the UK. And you eventually have to repay the money.
Yeah.
And we've always talked about shared knowledge, shared intelligence, training and what have you. That, sometimes when people just come in like this, we really don't benefit from the knowledge they are brought to do these things. They just come in, do their thing, and they go away. Yeah. So again, we have to begin to ask ourselves some very pertinent questions. How well positioned are we, to get onto an agreement table and have some level of balance? What we call balance of trade. Already, the UK has a better balance of trade. When you look at the trade relationship we have with them.
Yeah.
And you can't blame countries that continue to take advantage of Nigeria, because what do we have to put on the table? I keep asking that question. When we start, every time we start some of these trade relationships, I ask myself, what are we putting on the table? How balanced are these agreements?
I mean, Fuad, I don't know if they've been able to resolve the whole EU situation. The last time that we tried to export, I think it was beans, yam, something else, the complaint was returned that pesticides were used to preserve the beans, and so it's not edible. Some of the things were already damaged, like there was poor preservation amongst other things.
I think there was a time they always refused to take a yam,
returned it. So I don't know. I think that these things should be specified. The vagueness in some of these arrangements sometimes can be detrimental to us in the long run. There are specific issues. Quality of the pad spoken on this conversation say most times when they want to export, they have to take it to Ghana first and send from Ghana, and it's usually accepted when they do that, as opposed to when the EU or these European countries know that it's coming directly from Nigeria. That's a specific issue that they should actually work on.
I'm saying that we need to do more to position ourselves as an exporting nation, not as a nation that continues to receive and receive. We need to do more. We need to do more. We should have some level of competitive advantage when it comes to agricultural produce. Definitely. But how well are we exploring that sector? Have we built ourselves to the point where we can also take advantage of agricultural produce to, push our products to other countries? Yeah. If you understand what I'm saying. So those are the pertinent questions that we should continue to ask ourselves.
Well, I just, for those who are asking what exactly is the point of the trip, I just thought to highlight that because the papers are telling us, well, these are some of the benefits that we should enjoy from this trip. It's nice to sign papers, however, the implementation thereof and how we maximize the benefit of the implementation is another conversation entirely. We're looking at the Punch newspaper now. Let's look at the top story here. 2027 strategy. Makinde meets Kwakwanso as PDP reconciliation falters. Ahead of the 2027 general election, the People's Democratic Party governors, Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, Bala Mohammed of Bauchi, met with the national leader of the Nigeria Democratic Congress, Senator Seriake Dickson, and former Kano State Governor and 2023 New Nigeria People's Party presidential aspirant, Rabiu Kwakwanso. As reconciliation efforts between the governors and Minister of the Federal Capital Territory Nyesom Wike's bloc stalled. On Sunday, Makinde and Chairman PDP Governors Forum Mohammed held a closed-door meeting with Senator Seriake Dickson, who represents Bayelsa West in Bauchi. Makinde and Dickson later traveled to Kano, where they joined Kwakwanso as well as 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi. Now, the conversation from that meeting was not disclosed, but the Punch is telling us an anonymous source says that this meeting is not far away from conversations around plans for the 2027 election. In fact, those in the PDP, in the Wike faction, if you like, I think that this entire meeting was for them to come up with a plot to undermine the party's upcoming national convention scheduled for March 29 and 34. The last two standing, if you'd like to call them that, of the PDP.
Well, we'll wait to see what they're going to come up with. That's Governor Seyi Makinde and Governor Bala Mohammed. There are even rumors that Bala Mohammed may be moving over to the APC, but I'm surprised
that'll be 33. That'll be 33 now. 33 of 36. If he goes.
That will not surprise anyone. Even if Seyi Makinde tomorrow decides to join the APC, should that surprise you? So
right now, it's actually now wow. So it will be Seyi at the end of the day, but Wike is not even a governor per se.
That's just what it is. We're in an era where, of course, these are politicians who only think about their own personal interest. So it's not about any ideological difference or anything. So if tomorrow Bala Mohammed moves over again, like I said, there's been that talk about the possibility of him defecting to the APC. These are governors who have already enjoyed 2 terms. You understand? If they're going to be running, I'm sure they will not be in the PDP by now. They will have taken a decision.
Yeah.
I'm even surprised that even Natasha Akpoti, the senator, still calls herself a member of the PDP. I hope she knows what she's doing.
I think 31 members have left. 31 senators of the PDP left.
That Natasha is still remaining in the APC. Sorry, the PDP. Somebody should go and tell her that she should know what she's doing. You know?
Where should she go if she was to defect? Where would you ask her to go?
She should remain in the PDP, the factionalized PDP. The PDP that as a party will not legally be able to present any candidate in 2027.
That's why I'm asking that if she was to move, where? The ADC?
She should go to, we have 19 political parties now. Look at the former governor of Bayelsa, Senator Seriake Dickson.
Yeah.
That one went to form a party and did something. And they are moved there. Is that not the party? There are so many other parties. Because what we are saying is that, look, the PDP is at a point where it may not be legally be able to present a candidate in 2027. That has always been the desire of Wike. And they've been able to get the PDP to that point. They are at that point where, legally speaking, as divided as they are with all of the different court cases and the expectation that these decisions of court may just get to the point where they see themselves as a party that may not be able to play 27. I'm going to just relax a bit. I'm not going for any position. So again, meeting with Kwakwanso. Look, Obi was with Kwakwanso. You know, look at the turnout in Kano when Obi and Kwakwanso, of course, made the Kwakwanso movement. We have Seyi Makinde. I think Seyi Makinde is just too ashamed to leave the PDP for a week and then go to another political party. I'm sure he's a man with a lot of regret. He regrets about his association with Wike, because it now appears as if Wike used it and others. Well, not others, because others have been compensated, apart from maybe Samuel Otom, who is just hanging there. The others are now ambassador designates, Abi?
Yeah.
Wike himself has also been heavily compensated, Minister of the FCT, and the de facto governor of Rivers State. Those two, enough compensation, if you ask me. But you know, M소ɪɪ, like he has always said, I think saw a video where he said that, look, I'm not lying. I was at a meeting where Wike promised the president. I was there. He promised the president that we hold the PDP down for you, and I said no, it's not part of what we discussed. So let's look, this movement, you know, people are talking about the possibility of Obi so there's the Obi this and that. There are people who have said that look, Atiku may not eventually throw his hat in the ring. He probably will just be like somebody who's going to walk from behind. So there's a lot of around Obi and a possible northern candidate as running mate. Kwankwaso tops the list, if you ask me. But when without M소ɪɪ, is M소ɪɪ planning to lose the PDP? You know, it's a very big question we need to ask ourselves. But again, let's just keep our eyes crossed and see what comes out from that area.
God be with the PDP. Please, let's refrain from calling at this time. It's not time of day to take phone calls yet. We're still looking at the papers. At least listen. So when we eventually open the phone lines, you have something to say. You have to listen first. So please refrain from calling. For now, we'll tell you when it's time on Mainland Focus. It's trends in the papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. We have Punch still. Airlines under pressure after jet fuel surge 100%. There are indications that airfares may jump in the coming weeks following the hike in the cost of aviation fuel, commonly referred to as Jet A1, a development that is already putting pressure on the airline operation. Wow. On the airline operations and signaling higher ticket cost for passengers. The spike in Jet A1 price is largely due to the crisis in the Middle East, which has slowed the production and movement of crude across countries, worsening the operational cost of domestic carriers. And checks by correspondent with airlines showed astronomical increase in the operating cost of airlines, particularly caused by the spike in aviation fuel, which has become the dominant cost driver in recent weeks. I mean, Fuad, I don't think that this should come at anyone as a surprise. We did expect that there would be exponential increases across the board.
I'll say it. Before the Middle East conflict, this Middle East conflict, it was selling for like 900 naira per liter, the Jet A1. Now it's over 2,000 naira per liter. So that's going to have immediate effect. And airline operators are saying that, look, Jet A1 itself takes about 30 to 40% of operational cost.
Yeah.
You know, so if what takes about 30 to 40% of the operational cost has gone through the roof, almost like 300% increment, what does the US expect, Sage? So it's going to have that effect, and the airlines are saying that, look, for now we have even tried to manage the price of airfares. We have tried with it, but it appears that we may not be able to cope again. We'll have to price at the right amount. And people are, because again, I think a one-way ticket is about close to 200,000, Sage.
Within Nigeria.
Within Nigeria, that's within Nigeria. Before God.
I say within Nigeria.
Within Nigeria now. So places that used to be like 90, 80, 100,000 is now like double the price. But again, these are for people who are even elite. The only way that takes airline now, you assume that they are not low of the lowest.
But you know, people take airlines out of safety. They don't want to be
look. If you are, look at this stage now, if you are able to take a plane locally for sake of safety, it is because you can afford it.
Right.
So there are people who can, no matter how frightened they are about going on that road, they have no choice. They still have to go on that road if they must travel. You don't understand what I'm saying? For you to be able to afford the alternative of flying, because the roads are not safe, it is because you are privileged. There are some that go consumption. They can think about it, but how do they fund it? They still have to go on that road. And then what they do is to just live their lives in the hands of God. And when they go without any problem, they give thanks to God. And if they are abducted, people begin to contribute money to pay ransom to release them.
The fact that is It's choosing the best of two evils. It's just ridiculous. You either be on the road and chances that you might be abducted, you might not. And the alternative is the airplane, which is
extremely expensive. Yeah.
So you're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. You better know how to swim in this particular case. Mainland 98.3 FM, we're still on Facebook. Do well to join the live stream. Mainland 98.3 FM is exactly how you find us. You can also listen via the website www.mainlandfm.com. This is Trends in the Papers. I'm Sage Babalola, our analyst. Fᴏᴜ joins us via the phone. We're looking at our dailies. Still reviewing the Punch newspaper. State Police. Governor submits proposal for a National Assembly review. The Nigeria Governors Forum on Sunday said it has submitted its contribution on the proposed state police framework to the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, with the document expected to be transmitted to the National Assembly. The NGF chairman and Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak disclosed this in a meeting with President Bola Tinubu at his Ikoyi residence in Lagos. Abdurrazak stated that discussions on state police were ongoing amongst various security organizations led by the National Security Advisor, adding that the NGF had made its contribution to the process. He says, and I quote, on the issue of state police, discussions are ongoing amongst various security organizations led by the NSA, and the NGF has also made its contribution. That document will be taken to the National Assembly to see how we can have a legislative framework for state police, the governor has said. Fᴏᴜ, the conversation around state police has come up once again, and the Governors Forum have finally put together their report on what the framework should be for state police, and now is to be taken to the National Assembly so they can review it and also look at play their own legislative roles with regards to the establishment of state police. So, Fᴏᴜ, what aspect, much weaponry they are entitled to, even the scope of their operation within the state, amongst other things. So, this specific areas you think this document, for example, should focus on, so we're not too distracted?
Okay, now, before we talk about that, if you look at the Vanguard report on this same issue of state police,
okay, I'll look at
it gives us a further insight into states. It's not as if every state has agreed.
Yeah.
There are still state governors, there are still states whose input is that, look, we are not ripe for a state police yet.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Just a few of the states that are interested: Ogun State, Plateau State,
that are ready.
Yes,
we should go ahead.
Tabara, Kebbi, Adamawa, Nasarawa, and Kwara states. These are the few that are ready for state police. Yes.
As of focus, the biggest concern, and I think it's a concern that we have to pay serious attention to. Yes, we are getting to a point where, look, this whole centralized policing system seems not to be working. It is just obvious that, look, with the level of insecurity, global ratings when it comes to the issue of terrorism and what have you, we need to do something differently. There's something has to change. We cannot continue to do the same thing the same way and expect a different result, especially when it comes to policing. But we have to be careful. We have to be careful so that we don't try to solve one problem and create multiple other problems, or what that becomes a bigger problem.
Right.
We've had situations like that where in trying to solve one problem we implemented something and then we have multiple other problems to deal with. The biggest fear in the minds of well-meaning Nigerians, other Nigerians, is the attitude of our politicians, especially the governors. And I'll give you like 3-4 examples. So that we have to be careful. At the end of the day, we might have state police that will not even protect the people. Instead, it becomes a political tool. So it's not just to say you have the state police. If we are not careful, we will still have the state police and people will still not be protected. Those police officers will be used for the benefit of the politicians. Let's take some 3-4 examples. Look at it. No matter how poor we think INEC is, the central INEC, the federal INEC.
Yeah.
We have concerns about their performance. They are not doing well, blah blah blah. So we have state INEC that are controlled by the governors, the state. Compare the performance of them at the state level. Can you please compare the performance of the SIEC, the State Independent Electoral Commissions, to that of INEC? Are you aware today that there is no state in Nigeria when it comes to state elections, that all of them rig elections for their party, for the governors? And that is why you see that the party of the governors are the ones that carry the day all over. It has become a complete mess. State elections, local government elections that are conducted by the State Independent Electoral Commissions. compare the performance now of the state independent electoral commission to that of INEC. Results are basically just written, it's become a sham. So that's one example of how the governor, just because there was an account that was created, joint account, and the governor also state local government and then give the money to the local government. Are you aware that up to today there are still local governments who don't still collect their monies? Some governors are still ensuring that that thing does not happen. At least I know of several states. And the reason why some of these governors are doing it because no, they are covered by immunity. Nobody can hold them up to anything. In fact, we also have reports that there are some states that even when the local government gets the money, they have a way of getting it back. You understand what I'm saying? So if you look at the state assemblies, look if you say our national assembly is rubber stamp, go and check the relationship of our governors with the state assemblies. In most of the states, the reality is that they are teleguided, hoodwinked, coerced by the governors. They don't have their own independence. That's why you see that when the governor defends, all of them will defend to the governor. So what we are saying is that if we are not careful, we have seen some governors in Nigeria just imagine they have their own state police. What will happen to the opposition in the state? There are some governors that we've seen the way they behave, the way they carry themselves. Just imagine those governors have state police under their control. What will happen to opposition in the state? So as much as this has become very desirable, the idea of having state police, we have to be very, very careful. It's so bad that we are between the devil and the deep blue sea. The federal policing structure we have is not working. With principle, behavior have not shown that they are responsible enough to manage power. The little power they have, look at the way they use it. See, Sage. So I agree with people who are calling for caution. Yes, we are in a bad place. There's insecurity. We need to do something differently. But we have to be very, very careful, Sage. Very, very careful. As much as we say that it is desirable, we have to get it done. We have to be methodical about it. We have to plan it well. We have to look at the guardrails, put a framework in place. Because it's not even about the framework. They have the central police. We've seen governors who have stopped their opposition, who have stopped opposition from campaigning in their state. Just imagine a wiki as governor with a state police. or Monday or Pueblo, Edo State, with state police, Sage. You don't understand what I'm saying. Just who are told an opposition that your security will never be guaranteed, you must tell me before you come. Sage. Imagine that man being in control of his own police in his state. What will happen to the opposition in Edo State? Another example.
Fouad, if look at the subsidy issue, for example, the conversation was it's a number of people that are taking advantage of this system, so we're going to remove it.
And then use the money to benefit the larger.
And the argument is that, or the counter argument has been, why not obliterate these individuals who are abusing the system rather than disseminate the system? So if we translate that logic into this conversation, right, everyone agrees that state police has somewhat become necessary, state original, whatever they settle for. However, there are some governors who they fear might be problems to the...
Not some many of the governors, if not all the governors.
Why don't we then take care of it? And please don't get me wrong.
How do we take care of it?
I don't know, legislation perhaps, limiting their...
What kind of legislation? That is not control them?
I refuse to believe for outside that it's impossible to come up with legislation that can at least in a arm twist these governors to prevent them from abusing that system. So do we jettison the system because we're afraid that...
No, I'm not saying that's not what we're saying. But we have to sit back, sit down, put up our thinking camp, know that these people are not responsible enough to manage power. It is just what it is. I can give you several examples.
Oh no, I don't deny it. So what will be the safer, more reasonable alternative?
We have to think that through. Get people of good conscience, good thinking, whose brains are working to help us look at it very well. How do you all state is carrying itself today? Should that man have complete control of police in the state? What will happen? even when somebody come out and say his security will never be guaranteed in my state, he must tell me before he come. So we are saying that, look, in trying to solve one problem, let's hope we don't create many other problems that we will not be able to now solve. Because again, in character, principle, idea, behavior, our politicians have not shown enough discipline and desire to make things like this work. I just gave you about 3 examples.
Okay, well, a non-desire of actual technocrats to understand these systems, to want to join there. They don't seem very interested because they already believe that the system is as corrupt.
Why would you join with this electoral act?
That's what I'm saying.
When we were calling for it, they cannot. I will not do. You don't want to go. Look, here people say, oh, if you say politics is a dirty game, you allow dirty people to rule you. So the reason why we're saying that, look, let's reform the entire electoral process is to ensure that we have the best of us rule the rest of us. Okay, and they can get the support of the people to vote for them. But look at what we have with the electoral reform that we just did. If you force another that vote certificate, nobody can challenge you. See?
Right. It's not police report.
you know what I'm saying? That a National Assembly that is supposed to represent the larger majority of Nigerians would pass. What are we saying? Okay, so you want people of good standing, good conscience, good upbringing to go and participate in that kind of electoral process? But it can't be part of the electoral petitions. So you want people to join the room for me?
Fᴜᴜ, I really want us to take this last story before we have to leave. So if in 2 minutes you can, that would be great. Integrate energy sector, stop Genco's 6 trillion naira bailout, NLC tells federal government. Now, Nigerian Labour Congress has proposed a radical structural intervention in the electricity sector. It called on the federal government to carry out an immediate merger of the petroleum and power ministries into a single and unified Ministry of Energy. The creation of a unified Ministry of Energy, the NLC sovereignty over the nation's energy resources. We don't have time to really read through the report, but I think we can pay attention to the most quintessential part here. They're thinking that unification, right, of our energy sector will perhaps help us make sense of what's going on with petroleum, with electricity, etc., etc. Do you think that's like a reasonable?
I don't know how I want to model this up again. Even when they are standing on their own, there's problem. You don't want to merge everything. I don't know what Joe have. I think I need to see that entire statement, speech, read through the entire speech. So that I know the context by which he's making these suggestions. I can't just dismiss what he's saying because he is also from the energy sector, the power sector. So probably has an idea of what he's trying to say. But from what I've read in the reports, I've not really gotten the whole picture of what he's trying to suggest. But I think my message on energy security, the power sector generally, whether it is the petroleum sector or the power sector, is to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I think the president needs to be told that, look, no country jokes with the energy sector of their country. It affects everybody. Already we are talking about diesel at 1,800. Petrol is hovering around 1,320 in Lagos. In other parts of the country, people are already buying at over 1,500 per liter. See, Jet A1 over 2,000. People are already complaining. Business owners, there's no power supply. Even people on band A cannot even get the required service. It's supposed to be premium service. There's nothing premium about band A again now. So what we need to tell Mr. President, he must understand that, look, energy security is not only about availability. Help until things return to normal.
Well, Fᴜᴜ, that's really everything. I'm scanning through the report. I'd read it earlier. If we merge it, there's one minister that can be held accountable for all the many.
Is it about minister now?
That's what
the problem in the energy sector is about minister.
Well, he thinks at least we'll have one person who'll be able to explain to us what the lapses are, as opposed to having to talk to Minister of Petroleum, Minister of Energy, gas suppliers, everybody.
I think the problem we have is beyond having just one person to run everything, really. We have systemic problems. There's a lot of problems. Even if you have one person controlling the entire country. Look, I don't think it's about who controls what, really. It's about the fact that the system cannot just work because it's not built to work.
Fuad, we have to go. We're pressed for time. Thank you so much for your analysis. We appreciate you. Let's take that break. We'll be back at 8:40 for Mainland Focus. That's the time where we open the phone lines and get your feedback.